Well, as promised everybody, this is BugEater64, and I'm going to do a little comparison here between the DCS World Huey and the new Nimbus Huey UH-1 in X-Plane. And we're just going to look at the two of them. I am not a real pilot by any means, so I am not an expert. I have spent hundreds of hours in the Huey when I was in active duty military, doing a number of things. A lot of them were a lot of fun, but some weren't. Anyway, but we're going to just take a quick look at them, and remembering that the DCS World Huey is a study level aircraft. And at this point, the Nimbus aircraft, as good as it is, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be what I would consider a study level simulation. But we're going to take a look at the two of them. You tell me what you think, and we'll go into it and see what happens. See you on the inside. Laters. Alright everybody, this is BugEater64, and here we are in DCS World. Just want to take a quick look at, oh, looks like there's some fighting going on over there. But I just want to take a quick look at the UH-1 Huey. And we're going to do a little comparison a little later with the X-Plane 11 Nimbus Huey UH-1, and we're just going to see the difference. Now here in DCS World, this is a study level simulation of the UH-1 Huey, and I've got it. I use voice attacks for this, so cockpit. We'll look inside here, and let's see here. Gunner panel, and if you look up in the upper left hand corner there, you see my control indicator. Kind of lets me know where different controls are. There's our throttle. We can spool it up, but I've also got it connected to my Thrustmaster HOTAS. I use the Warthog. And so we can take a look around here. Okay, controls. And our upper panel. Now, the one thing with this, I also have a checklist. I don't normally need it, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at it here. Doors. Doors. Door. Thank you. Nice of you to do what I ask. Alright. So, let's go through this. Kneeboard. Kneeboard. Next. Alright, and there's our checklist. So, doors are closed. Look at our AC power and make sure it's on phase. So that's one click there. And I got an itch. I know, Bubba's sitting next to me. He's my co-pilot. Okay, AC power, main generator covered. That's this one. And we can, let's see. Okay. So cover that. And then we want this set here to ESS bus, which is 2 clicks. Okay. And so we got that. Starter generator to start. Okay, starter generators at start. Okay, battery on. Get rid of that. Reset that. Okay. Low RPM audio off. Nav light steady. I'm not worried about the lights right now. Anti-clear, I'm not worried about it. Okay, fuel on. Click that. You can hear the fuel pump starting. Hydraulic on. And force trim on. Flight controls, we checked them. Let's check the collective. And so with that we can go ahead. We've already got let's look, controls. Controls. Alright. So we want our throttle set at idle, which is basically minimum. And then we're going to go ahead and start the engine. And what we do is we watch the gas producer, and here we go. Let's see about getting this thing started. Start engine. Engine start. Okay. Can also do it with the I think it's the home key on my keyboard. So we watch the turbines come up, and when it gets to about 40%, then we can introduce okay, that's looking pretty good. She's starting up nicely. And with that, we go up here, turn the main inverter on, and starter generator to standby. Okay. And then, and this is something that the Nimbus does not have, and that is the radio altimeter. So we click it on, and we can set it up. So it's going. Delta minimum altitude, okay. Start checklist, offset, so everything's good. Kneeboard. Kneeboard. And what we can do is, with that just locked our force trim. Set this up, and let's add throttle outside. And we'll get this up to 100 RPM, 100% RPM. cockpit. Oh, IFF. Okay. There you go. Excuse me there. All right. And what you're seeing in the upper left there in that control connection, we've got RPMs at 100%. We've got our force trim locked and take what I would say takeoff trim position. A little bit of left rudder, cyclic, slightly, to the rear and left. And that makes it easier so that when we do lift off, helps promote the ability to get us into a hover. Okay. Let's see if this old dot. Usually this is much easier in VR, but we're going to give it a shot here. Giving it some collective. See where we're at. See, when your takeoff trim is set properly, it makes that much easier to do. And hovering is a constant work in progress. Okay, so let's set her back down. Okay, we're going to get a little altitude here, and then I'm going to demonstrate something with the HUEY. Okay, we're doing about 60 knots. We've got a little altitude, so let's slow it down. Okay, you hear that shaking? We just went into VRS. So nose down. Pick up some airspeed. VRS is very easy to get out of. you know, by just changing direction and gaining some airspeed. But that's the one thing in my little test flight with the Nimbus I didn't find. I really couldn't get it into what I consider a VRS state. Almost did it again. Got to keep your eye on this old girl. Some lag there. That's liable to kill me. Okay, we'll just edge her in here. Ooh. Outside. Cockpit. Alright, settle down, girl. Yeah, a little difficult to do that from basically third person. Ease her down. And throttle back. Control. Control. Controls. Outside. Outside. Door. Door. So there we are. All right, so here we are. We're at KWJF in Lancaster, California, and this is the Nimbus HUEY UH-1. Very nicely detailed. I don't know if they consider this a true study level simulation, but we've got some nice things with this. We've got the checklist, which I'm going to use here shortly, just like we did in the DCS World HUEY. We've got maintenance here, so you can actually set this up to always be like new, or as you fly, things may get worn out or damaged. So, and that's the way I'm going to leave it for this time. Down here in the lower right behind me almost, is our controls, just like in the DCS World. The difference is with this one, I haven't been able to lock my cyclic to my takeoff position. There's the rudders, and there's the collective, and there's no throttle indication like we have with that I can see, or that I've found with the this version. Then you also have Copilot. Now this is really unique. I did a little test flight yesterday, and you can actually click on this to take over, let the Copilot take over, and the aircraft will fly a heading and level. So you can actually use this as a type of autopilot if you want to, because you can make adjustments in the cockpit of your heading and it'll fly that heading. So it's kind of neat. Nice little touch. And let's see, then we've got this is your weights and balances. Now the one thing I noticed is that when I first loaded this helicopter, after downloading it, all these seats were filled and so on. It had left cargo 250 pounds, right cargo 250 pounds, and you can choose between kilograms and pounds. And the aircraft just sat down on its tail. Let's see if we can do that. See how it's sending the center of gravity back? Bingo. She sits on her tail. So that's an issue. I have a problem with that, in the fact that I should be able, you know, to more easily adjust this. If I want to carry passengers, you know, I should be able to carry passengers without that issue of setting on its tail. So anyway, let's take a look at. Doesn't appear to be any damage. She hit her tail pretty hard. Okay, and then with this, you can actually open the doors and such. I think that's, these panels in some ways are really, I can think, too big, because usually if you want to open doors, you like to see what's happening. So we'll get those closed. Okay, so let's get back in the cockpit. And as you can see, she looks, you know, very old and weathered. We're talking an aircraft that was built, this particular version, and if you notice where the version in DCS World had the radio altimeter, this one does not have a radio altimeter. This is truly old school, and excuse me, and she looks it. So, and let's look at the top panel. So, again, looking very old and weathered, maybe even a little bit too much old and weathered. But, and as you can see, some things are already set. AC phase is already set to start. ESS bus, that's normal. We've got our main generator is already set to on and covered. Come on. That's it, generator start. This is at normal. Inverter's not on, which is good. So let's go back here. And let's take a look at the checklist. We'll just move that over here. Don't need that. Pilot HTR switch on, anti-collision on. So we can set that anti-collision. Well, we haven't even turned the battery on yet. Okay, but we'll go ahead. Anti-collision is on. We'll put them on position lights on. They're off so far. Okay. Steadier flash off for day. Okay. Cargo release is off. Cabin heat off. As required. Phase switch to AC. Bingo. Inverter switch off. Main generator switch on and cover down. Starter generator switch to start. Battery switch now on. Okay. Okay, tested. Main fuel on. Come on. Some of these switches are a little bit temperamental at times. Okay. Main fuel is on. Caution panel lights test. And let's see. Hydraulic condition switch on. Force trim on. And that should be set to both. Okay. Altimeter set to field elevation. which I'd have to get that. But that's pretty close. Alright, next page. Rotor blades. Clear. Alright, now let's take a look outside again and look at these rotor blades. Now you saw in DCS World how before they started, one, they weren't moving around and they had a droop in them. They were slightly bent down. These look like they're already in the power up position. So that's a little glitch that shouldn't be there. Helicopters, when they're not under power, these blades, because of their length and weight, droop, and these don't droop. So we know the rotor brake is off, and now let's set our throttles. And you see that? Okay, they're set at idle. And the start switch is supposed to be right here. Okay, it does not work. That's one of the glitches. Now this aircraft just came out, and it's been a 2-year project. So you know, if there's a little problem, there's a little problem. But the real starter switch is usually behind this, and you wouldn't be able to see it. So what they did was they made basically a click spot on the right side of the collective, and you can see I'm clicking on it and nothing happens. So it doesn't work. That's something that they're going to have to agree. But what I did was is I made it the switch went into my controls. Matter of fact, we can look at that, and let's go to my joystick, and I set it up. Let me go all the way here. Okay, what you do is you go to Nimbus UH-1, and then the commands, come down and start up command, and that's how you start the engines. So with that, let's give it a shot. Watch this gauge here, the gas producer gauge. And she's spooling up nicely. And you tell me what you think of that sound. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down. Then I'm going to start it up again. I think the slapping sound, that rotor slap, is just too intense. Okay, put the rotor brake on. Take it off. Come on. There we go. Alright, let's see if she's got enough juice left in the batteries to start her up again. And let's listen to the blades. That needs to be toned down some. Okay, so let's run her up. Got full RPMs. So let's see if we can pick her up. A little left. Okay, we've got basically the same settings as we had with DCS World. Let's see how she lifts. She does not. She's a little more difficult. To keep under control. So what I want to see let's see if she falls out. I'm not finding any indication of VRS. Yeah, okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I forgot to turn on, yeah, inverter. Okay. You happy now? Alright. So now let's take down the RPMs. And we should hear the alarm go off when the low RPMs kick in. Yeah, one thing you can do is so that's a nice touch how the sound changes when the door is open. But we sure have not heard any alarm when we went to low RPM. So I should have had low RPM audio. Oh well. So, anyway. Okay, so there we have it. Now, this is only my second real short little flight in this thing, so it's going to take some getting used to. But, you know, it is a very nice helicopter. It flies very well. Like I said, it's going to take some getting used to. Hovering can be a bit tricky in it. And I think they still need to do some work with the sounds. I haven't tried it in VR yet. It's supposed to be VR friendly, so I may try that, and that definitely will help perceptions in flying a helicopter. So with that, my only other thing is I really did not see an indication of VRS, and in a true Huey helicopter, VRS can be a real issue. So that's something to look into, and it may not even be the developer's problem. It might be a problem with X-Plane itself, because they've really got to work on their aerodynamics for helicopters in X-Plane. There's a long a long way to go with that. There's some issues that need to be taken care of. So, what can I tell you? This is a nice helicopter. I have fun with it. It's an old bird. I've spent hundreds of hours in these type aircraft over the years when I was in the military. I've not flown them per se, but I have fast roped at them, repelled out of them, parachuted out of them, and on the very rare occasion, I actually stepped off out of the helicopter onto the ground like a normal human being. Wasn't as much fun as the other things though. So with that, you tell me what you think. I think Nimbus did a wonderful job with this helicopter. I really like it, and it's nice to have it in the hangar. I look forward to updates and improvements, which I'm sure this is a very dedicated group that made this helicopter, and I really look forward to some of the input from other flight simmers and for the Nimbus group to make some updates to it and continue on. It's a true addition to X-Plane, and one that's been long overdue. So thank you, Nimbus, and we look forward to improvements. And I'm sure you're aware that there is need for some improvements with the sound system and some other tweaks in the flight control systems as well. Until then, I've enjoyed it, and there'll be more coming. Okay, there you have it. A few of the differences and likenesses of the DCS World HUEY and the Nimbus HUEY UH-1. Like I said, I like this helicopter. It's going to need some, tweaks with some of the sounds, and if they can implement the VRS phenomena a little better. But overall, I think they did an outstanding job rendering this helicopter. Like I said, I'll have to try it in VR, see how that goes. I always find it much easier to fly helicopters in VR because it gives me my depth and field much better, and in helicopters that depth and field is so important. So with that, this is Bug Eater 64. Hope you enjoyed this look at the two aircraft, and I hope that you come back and enjoy more of the videos that I make. If you did like it, please click the like button. If you didn't like it, go ahead and click the don't like button. Make some comments. I always enjoy constructive criticism from the people that watch my videos and my streams. So with that, thank you so much, and until next time, as always, safe flying.